Feast TV is brought to you with the support from Missouri Wines, IKEA, Cawley's Coffee, Old Time Produce, and the Raphael Hotel.
Today we meet the people who have dedicated their lives to giving back by feeding others. I'm Cat Neville, and this is Feast TV. When you think of charities focused on food, you probably think of your local food pantry. And yes, 1 in 8 Americans, believe it or not, is food insecure. And so those food pantries play a vital role. However, there are a lot of charities that are doing other things in the realm of food. And so today we are going to take a look at people who are giving back to the communities that they serve.
New Roots for Refugees is a 4-year farm business training program. It's coordinated by both Catholic Charities and Cultivate Kansas City together. We share responsibility for the program. The goal is really that we're working with people who have been resettled in the Kansas City area with refugees who have agricultural experience from their home country and really helping them adapt those skills to be able to run a successful farm business here in the Kansas City area. 2007 is when we first started on this site. The seeds were planted a couple years before by a women's group at Catholic Charities of Somali Bantu refugee women who were expressing some feelings of isolation, a desire to reconnect with the land, which was something that was really important to them and their community back home. And so Catholic Charities helped those women start a small community garden site. We realized pretty quickly that we lacked a lot of the agricultural experience as a social service agency to be able to help in that arena, so we reached out to Cultivate Kansas City to help us develop it from a community garden space into a formal farm business training program. A refugee is someone who has had to flee their country due to some form of persecution, so it could be based on race, ethnicity, religion, gender. There's a lot of different reasons that people flee, but generally they're fleeing some kind of danger, war, persecution in some way, and they're wanting to find a safer place. Right now in our program, we work with mostly folks from Burma. We also have some Bhutanese, Nepali people. We've had a woman from South Sudan, a woman from Liberia, and from Burundi. So a few folks from some different African countries. Primarily right now, though, Southeast Asia is where most folks are coming from.
Bom dia ni video a chao mi mi jang bo no dau kha the ma thwe la ni de dau kha the ni video elo myo UACR ni video.
Long time ago we fled our country and are looking for another place to get a refuge, and then we have family. My daughter is young and we don't want to end up in refugee camp forever because we want her to have a bright future, so we finally picked United States and we end up here. The background culture is totally different, but we're trying to maintain both. We don't want to abandon our culture and thing, but we're also adapting new culture.
The idea really is that people come here with a wide variety of skills, but unfortunately a lot of the times those skills aren't necessarily ones that are valued in the American workforce, or if they do have higher levels of education and a lot of transferable skills, maybe sometimes language is a barrier or certifications are a barrier. So one of the things I really love about this program is it allows people to do something that they're really good at, that they've been doing with their families for years and maybe even generations, and allows them to put those skills to use in a really productive way that builds community both in the refugee community and just in the city in general.
သူတို့ကအားလုံးညီမတို့
We don't know anything about how to sell your produce and reach out to the community. They teach us all the basic stuff. This program help us make lots of friends among the farmer and also with customers. We get to know more culture when we dealing with the local people. So it's a huge help.
Our ultimate goal is that people are able to practice their skills here for 4 years, learn the nuances of having a business in the United States, and especially a farm business, and then are able to transfer those skills onto a site of their own. So our ideal is that people complete the program and then purchase or lease land wherever they want at a scale that they can manage and want to run on their own. So the land that we're on right now is about 9 acres. It's owned by the Kansas City, Kansas Housing Authority, and we rent it from them. We've divided the space into 16 quarter-acre plots, so each family that joins the program receives that a quarter acre and grows on that space for the 4 years that they're in that program. So people are responsible for all of the physical labor that goes into maintaining their space. They do all the planting, the harvesting, the washing, and then they sell and keep the proceeds from whatever they grow.
We grow organically, so that will help somehow people eat healthy and get a good food. So I'm really happy about that.
We grow a wide variety of produce, a lot of tomatoes, beans. We grow a lot of herbs and greens.
Carrot, potato, broccoli.
There's a lot of different smaller eggplants, a lot of hot peppers, lots of squashes and gourds. We don't require people to grow any certain mix of crops, which is one of the things I really like about this program. It introduces people to American vegetables, to vegetables that are familiar to a Midwestern palate, but we also allow people to grow whatever is native to them, anything that they want that will make this feel more like home to them. I think adapting to the climate here, so teaching people how to grow in a greenhouse, how to start seeds, that's one of the things that's a challenge for people, and then learning the differences in marketing and what customers here in Kansas City might be interested in. American shoppers are really visual, so they're looking for like beautiful bunches and different color palettes and nicely written signs that have prices on them, whereas a lot of the people that we work with come from cultures where the markets are a lot more verbal, so there's a lot of verbal bartering and negotiating, and sometimes that's frowned upon at markets here in the United States. So there's a lot of nuance to that. I would say in general language is the biggest barrier, but that's something we try to overcome by helping people go through English classes that are pretty specific to their farm business, and just working with them all the time on little, conversation skills that can help them. I think one of the things that I really love is that this program gives people a lot of autonomy and a lot of ownership and a lot of pride in having this skill that, quite frankly, a lot of Americans today don't have. And so being able to be the food providers in the Kansas City community is really powerful to me. I think our country is realizing that our farmers are aging out and that we need young people, we need people who know how to farm to start doing it. And there's so much potential in the communities of people who are inviting to the United States as refugees and just immigrants in general. There's a lot of deep agricultural knowledge that we've lost a little bit in the United States. I would love to see more integration of those communities into our food system. This program's a great example of a way to do that.
Our next stop is Food Outreach in St. Louis, Missouri, where food heals the body as well as the spirit.
Food Outreach has a very unique mission. We serve men, women, and children in the St. Louis community who have been diagnosed with HIV, AIDS, or cancer. And we provide nutritional counseling and nutrition to them. Nutritional counseling and nutrition are vitally important to our clients. As a new client, you can come in and get a private one-on-one counseling appointment. You will find out from our registered dietitian what you need to do in terms of working on your health, building your strength, and being able to not only get through your treatment program, but to find better ways to take your medication, be med compliant. There's all kinds of different ways in which nutrition can actually help a person's health and wellness.
I'm standing here with Natalie, who's the registered dietitian at Food Outreach, and I think we're going to go take a look at the pantry.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay.
What a great place to talk about nutrition.
So the clients come in. How often do they come in to shop?
Typically, once every other week is how often they can come in and fill out a new menu, choose their own groceries. For some people, they do want a full meal plan. They want to know what to get. And then recipes are always available too.
So when someone comes in and they're new to the program, how do you find out what their needs actually are?
I sit down with them and we go through a nutrition assessment, and a lot comes out in that as to, the person's life situation and things like that. The individuals we deal with have layers of being under-resourced. And when someone gets to this point, they're not dealing with just HIV, they're not dealing with just cancer, they're dealing with a whole host of other medical conditions. So that whole picture gets worked into kind of what does get talked about and then how they move forward.
Is that what attracted you to this position rather than working in a hospital? The fact that you would be able to have a deeper relationship with the people that you're helping?
Absolutely. I came here as a dietetic intern, and I had come from a lot of hospitals where you get, your 10, 15 minutes and you're talking to them about a very specific thing, whether or not they want to be talked to about it. And what you find in a place like this is that you get to see the context of someone's life and everything that they're dealing with.
Annually, we serve about 2,000 clients a year, and about 350 of those have been diagnosed with cancer, and then the remaining approximately 1,700 have been diagnosed with HIV/AIDS.
So I'm sitting here with Jessie Coffey. When did you become a client of Food Outreach?
I recently found out that I was HIV positive in 2014, so I came here and they actually helped out a lot because they come to you and you can come to them with anything as far as needing something to eat, or if you want to just see how your health is going or just talk to somebody.
So how has coming here impacted your health physically but also emotionally?
It actually helped break down the portions of what you need to be eating and more of the healthier foods that you do need on a daily basis. It just makes me feel happy knowing that I'm on the right track.
So everybody comes in for grocery shopping every other week. You also have the Monday lunches. So what role does that play?
It's one of our favorite things here. It's where people can kind of come who are experiencing a lot of hardship and kind of just share a beautifully presented meal. I tell people, Monday is my favorite day of the week. It is so fun. I really hope you join us.
The Monday Hot Lunch program includes being served by volunteers a 3-course meal. And you get to do this with a dining room full of people. And we just get to feel like we're in a restaurant. The chef has prepared this food with volunteers. It's an amazing opportunity to get this rich understanding in terms of how much you're not alone. We have a stunning group of volunteers. We depend on the services of about 700 volunteers annually.
So now I'm in the kitchen with Al Hench, who is a volunteer here at Food Outreach. You've been volunteering for 10 years, you said the first time?
The first time, consistently this time, since I retired in '07. For probably a total of about 20 years, we started the original site on Union.
What drew you to Food Outreach in the first place?
At the very beginning, it was the whole outbreak of the AIDS epidemic, And this was the only place in St. Louis that was providing support system that I knew of. And I mainly do the dishes, but then I help serve, interact with the clients, whatever I can do.
And so when you're interacting with the clients, you know, what does that mean to you? I mean, how do you get to know them? What is it that you want them to feel when they're here?
I want them to feel comfortable and welcome. And we do that through conversation and food.
What about the atmosphere here in the kitchen, the camaraderie with all the volunteers?
Can't beat it. You cannot beat it.
What does it mean for you personally to be here, to be involved with supporting the health and the well-being of the people who really are reliant on this organization?
I just feel grateful to be here, to hear some of the stories and the hardship that people go through, and being able to just kind of be that person in their corner to listen to them and validate their experience is one of the best things to me to be able to do.
It's a great time to be at Food Outreach because we get to serve the lives of people who are not only struggling with these chronic illnesses, but we also get to give them a way to come to a place where they feel safe, respected, treated with dignity, and they come here and experience a greater understanding of themselves in a much larger community of people who are also genuinely struggling. We realize we're at some place profoundly special, and we all hope to earn the opportunity to be here for a long time.
And our last stop is with the guys from Operation Barbecue Relief. The organization started here in Missouri, but it has spread across the entire country.
So today we're here at the American Royal, the World Series of Barbecue, and we're at the Pig-a-Palooza fundraising event for Operation Barbecue Relief. Tonight we're going to have over 2,000 people here partying and having a great time. And we're going to have an amazing, amazing night and raise a lot of money so that we can do a lot of good.
Operation Barbecue Relief is a disaster relief 501c3 nonprofit organization that goes out and serves hot barbecue meals to those affected from disasters and the first responders that come out to those communities to help those people. We've been around for just a little over 5 years and done just shy of 1.2 million meals in 20 different states from 34 different disasters. We'll be doing 5 whole hogs, beef ribs, beef brisket. We got suckling pigs on an open fire. Hopefully we'll start pulling out some pork belly here to start cooking. There's not a lot of vegetables that will be consumed here tonight.
We have 4 or 5 great pit masters from around the country that will come in and they'll compete against each other on cooking a hog. So we got this trophy here, the OBR Cup. This will go out to the winner of that contest.
After the Joplin tornado, it was so close to home being here in Kansas City that me and another friend decided we should go down and help the community, and what better way than to have some barbecue guys that cook a lot of meat and be able to provide hot meal to somebody in need. And so we went down to Joplin, thought we'd be there for 3 or 4 days. All of a sudden 3 or 4 days turned into 11 days. 4,000 to 5,000 meals that we thought we would do turned into 120,000 meals, and we left there with this idea, with this notion that we were going to take it and make it into a nonprofit organization. Nothing's better than a community helping itself and healing itself, but when you can take a disaster where the community infrastructure is gone, you need an organization like us to be able to come in, do hot meals, and provide that nourishment to them, and also give them a little bit of hope, and understanding that there are people out there that really care about them.
the heart of the volunteer is that they want to do something great and they want to help their fellow Americans. We have over 4,000, close to 5,000 volunteers now.
Just shy of 5.5 years, we've had over 4,000 people that have deployed on those 34 different disasters in 20 states. One of these big smokers can do roughly about 900 pounds of meat, at a time. When you end up doing 30,000 meals in a day, you've got 11 of those going at one time. And so it's really a scalable thing that we've, worked on developing. Barbecue's about family. It's something that barbecue's been doing forever. They've been giving back to their community, to their school, but what we've done is we've operationalized it and brought them all together into a big family to then help us deploy and be able to serve as many people as we do. When you're feeding people that have lost everything, for a minute, they sit there and they forget about the bad stuff that's happened to them. And having that satisfaction that you've been able to just give some comfort to somebody by doing something you love to do, a lot of people just don't have that satisfaction out there.
So when I thought about what recipe to make for the Food Gives Back episode, I went back into my own recipe box and pulled out an old favorite. This recipe is easy, it's inexpensive, it uses a lot of pantry staples, and your whole family is going to love it. It is stuffed poblano peppers with canned black beans, canned tomatoes, canned jalapenos, and ground beef. It is easy and quick, and I make it all the time when I am hungry after work. So the first thing is to take your poblano pepper, and I'm just going to cut the tops off and stick them in the oven and broil them for just a little bit. I love poblano peppers. They are hotter than a green pepper, and obviously much, much milder than something like a jalapeno, but they do have a nice heat to them and a really beautiful kind of almost green flavor. They're perfect for stuffing because, look at this. They are hollow and narrow. So we're just gonna stuff all that wonderful ground beef mixture just right down the center. So I'm taking out the seeds. Easy, easy. All right, I have my oven at about 475. I'm just gonna pop these in there just to get them a little blistered and soft. And while I do that, I'm also gonna brown my ground beef. I have about a pound of just regular old ground beef, and I'm gonna go ahead and take it over to the stove and brown it really quickly. I'm browning ground beef because I'm making a family-friendly version, but if you wanted to use chorizo or some other more authentic protein, you certainly could. You can also make this dish entirely vegetarian and make it rice and beans and cheese and lots of veggies, and it's gonna be delicious any way you decide to put your own spin on it. We're done. Took just a couple of minutes to season it with salt and pepper. Now I'm just gonna put it in a big bowl. So I've got my ground beef. I'm going to add in a good amount of black beans. This is 2 cans of black beans that have been rinsed, obviously drained. I want kind of a 1-to-1 ratio of beans to beef. This is just a can of tomatoes. All right. I have these tops of the peppers and I don't want to waste it. I don't want to waste any food, so I'm not going to throw it away. I'm just going to go ahead and chop them up and throw them in the bowl as well. And of course, can't have Mexican food without cilantro. And along the lines of not wasting food, do not toss out your cilantro stems. That's where most of the cilantro flavor is. So make sure you chop that up and throw it in. I'm gonna grab my peppers out of the oven. Those look awesome. I'm putting a dish towel on top of these so they can steam, and then I'm gonna take the skins off. The skins can be a little bit tough, and so this is the easy way to get them to peel right off. Finish up my filling here. I've got some nice hot jalapenos. Last addition is just gonna be a little bit of white onion. Okay, now the poblano peppers. See how the skin just comes right off? And you can't have stuffed peppers without a ton of cheese. So I'm going to go ahead and shred up just some Chihuahua cheese. You can find this in any grocery store. Okay, just open up your pepper and use a spoon that isn't too big for the opening because you want to be able to get all that good ground beef mixture down into the bottom. Just stuff those babies as full as you possibly can. So what I always do, because I inevitably have more filling, I'll just kind of line the filling here along the front so that while it cooks, it gets all beautiful and bubbly. Top it with as much cheese as you like. Popping this in a 350-degree oven, 20 minutes or so, just until it's golden brown and bubbly, and then we're done. So you know to pull them out of the oven when they're bubbly and brown and just have this beautiful kind of burnished look to them. I'm gonna let it simmer down for just a second before I spoon up a couple of peppers for myself. And I'm pairing this with a vignole from St. James Winery. This vignole happened to win the Governor's Cup 2 years in a row. It is really nicely balanced. It does have a little bit of sweetness to it, which is why I've paired it with this particular dish because of all the heat that we've built up with the jalapenos and the poblano peppers. A great dinner does not have to be expensive or time-consuming, and these peppers are proof of that. So enjoy.